All right, I am ready. I apologize to everyone.
Thank you. All right.
Recording in progress.
I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Planning Commission. I guess I should start by apologizing.
Is your mic on?
I guess I should really start by turning on my microphone, shouldn't I? And I'm sorry about the late start. There was apparently some confusion about the meeting, but fortunately it's now been resolved, and I hope we can make good progress for the rest of the evening. I think the first thing we need is a roll call.
Chairman Harper?
Here.
Vice Chair Rose?
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Here.
Commissioner Whitty? Commissioner Barnes?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon? Commissioner Mojo?
Here.
Commissioner Gross?
Present.
Commissioner Shanahan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Good. The next item on our agenda is public comment. This time is for comments about anything other than the final development plan application for the Kite Route crossing, because that will be a public hearing and we'll take public comments on that subject then. Is there anybody in Town Hall who'd like to make a comment on something other than the Kite Route? Okay. We're really moving along quite quickly. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the Planning Commission from August the 5th. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
And would somebody like to second it?
I'll second.
We need a roll call, I think, don't we?
All right, so we have a first from Vice Chair Rose and a second from Commissioner Mojo. Chairman Harper?
Yes.
Vice Chair Rose?
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes?
Yes.
Commissioner Mojo?
Yes.
Commissioner Gross?
Yes.
Commissioner Shanahan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the public hearing on the final development plan for the application for the Kite Route crossing. Is there proof of publication? And
Yes, sorry.
I'm guessing since Jeffrey is at the microphone that we have a presentation on it.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Weathers. I'm a planner with the town, and I'll be giving a presentation on the final development plan for the Kite Route crossing development. The applicant is Penrose LLC, and members of their team are here, and we'll be giving a short presentation and answering questions after my presentation. To get used to. This map reflects the location of the site, located along Old Rail Way, between Gateway Drive and Marshall Road in what is the Discovery Parkway development, but is bordering on downtown Superior. The lot is approximately 1.8 acres. The project proposes to build a 50-unit, 3-story, 100% senior affordable, that is 55 plus senior affordable apartment building, including 2 stories of living space over 1 story of parking garage. The initial development in Discovery Office Park was zoned for commercial office park, and 1 building of that plan was constructed in 2003. In 2014, that PD was amended to allow for residential, the construction of the duplexes that now exist on Canary Lane were approved in 2018. Last year, the town approved an additional PD amendment to permit the use of affordable housing on Lot 21, the lot in question, as well as to refine certain development standards to facilitate the Kite Route Crossing project. This slide is going to concern sort of our commitment to affordable housing and how this project relates to that. In 2018, the town signed on to the Boulder County Regional Housing Partnership goal for having 12% of our overall housing units and be 12% of our overall housing units be affordable by 2035. In 2020, the town adopted an inclusionary zoning ordinance, which requires 15% of units in new developments to be affordable housing. In 2023, the town committed to building at least 22 units of affordable housing by 2027 to remain eligible for certain state grant funding. In 2025, the town adopted housing strategies, which identified different mechanisms for addressing the shortage of senior and affordable housing by promoting missing middle housing and promoting housing choice for seniors. Currently, the town has no deed restricted, income restricted, rent stabilized, or other kinds of affordable housing options. And none, therefore, also specifically designed for the needs of seniors. The Kite Route Crossing development is pivotal to tackling the town's housing needs and following through on its commitments. I'm going to talk a little bit in the next couple of slides about just the site suitability. This site, staff feels, is optimal for senior affordable housing. It is a walkable development with good proximity to grocery stores, pharmacies, parks, trails, open spaces, fitness centers, restaurants, entertainment, doctor's offices, hospital, a hospital, town hall, the town civic space. It also has robust transportation options, including a local bus stop right in front of the building. It has regional transit within a mile. It has access to Via Transit, Flex Ride, car share is 2 blocks away. Bike share is anticipated next summer. And of course, there's ample walking and biking all over town and nearby. It also provides many opportunities for a social connection through public and private events and activities such as summer concerts, farmers markets, sporting tournaments, recreational programs, and game nights at local restaurants. Moving on to site design, I can be pretty brief about this. We can kind of cover this in more detail if you want to later, but it's fairly straightforward, I think. As this table demonstrates, the Kite Route proposal is generally compliant with development requirements laid out by the PD. There's one requested exception to those requirements for an encroachment of an external staircase into a side setback that we'll get into more detail about later, but generally it meets the standards. As far as parking, it exceeds the minimum parking requirement with 10 additional compact spaces. The proposal also meets the basic EV requirements. The town has also offered to exchange 2 EV installed or 4 EV ready spaces in their garage for an on-street EV car share station at the time of the building permit, if the developer feels like that's the best move. So they could go either way. They also propose to offer of 26 covered bike parking stalls. Landscaping on the site, the landscaping in the PD, the goal was to establish, that was established by the town and the applicant in the plan development agreement was to conserve water, stabilize the hillside, and avoid restrictions caused by tall vegetation. The landscape design meets the standards of the Superior Town Center design guidelines. The landscaping integrates the adjacent existing integrates well with the existing landscaping adjacent to the building. It includes native grasses on the hillside to the south of the building, rock mulch, and a border area on the south side just before the building, and a shrub bed in the northeast corner of the building, sort of up here. The existing landscaping on and adjacent to the property will be preserved or replaced in kind if damaged during construction. Irrigation will be sourced from the town's non-potable water reuse line. The native grasses and shrubs will be irrigated regularly until established and then strictly as needed. The trees on the hillside will be permanently irrigated with a low volume, deep root bubbler system, and the shrubs and perennials adjacent to the building will receive water from a low volume drip system. All of the lighting fixtures that they're going to use are full cutoff to minimize light trespass and protect the views of private property and comply with the and comply with the Superior Town Center design guidelines. With respect to architecture and design, the architecture was approached to enhance pedestrian level experience of the building. Penrose designed Kite Route using a variety of exterior building materials and architectural elements. The materials include varying pattern bricks, fiber cement siding on different widths, metal paneling, composite siding with natural wood appearance to accentuate the pedestrian scale in the building entry. Also on the roof deck, the trellis, and the Juliet balconies. In addition, the design promotes visual interest through changes in setback, an entry canopy, ground floor fenestration, bench seating all along the building, pedestrian scale details and other pedestrian scale details while maintaining coherent visual context through articulation, repetition, and massing to break up the long street facade. The primary building entry is visible from the street, and the user is led to the entry off the main sidewalk. The sense of arrival is emphasized by a change in materiality with the faux wood soffit and protruding awnings above the door, and by adjacency to a stair core that serves as a vertical massing element. The main entry and common area spaces are also defined through the use of primary transparent facades along Old Railway. So you can kind of see those in the picture here a little bit. For the parking garage, fenestrated walls with air intake grille shields, the view of cars from pedestrians and building users, while using detailing at a human scale to make building frontages approachable. The site, they're including a lot of amenities, including on-site property management, multi-purpose common room, recreation room, fitness room, dog wash, an outdoor sun deck on the second floor with views of the Flatirons in the west. They built into the FDP many sustainability standards that go over and above compliance with the 2021 IECC building codes, including green certifications, all electric system, indoor air quality measures, water efficiency measures, as we discussed before. They do have a couple of exception requests. One is a encroachment into this side setback on the northwest side. The amendment number 1 of Discovery Office Park PD prohibits decks, patios, and architectural elements or similar items into the setbacks on residential lots, which I guess would include this one. An exception is requested for a 4.6 foot side setback encroachment for the outdoor staircase. The deck fits within the setback, it's just the staircase. The staircase is for the private use of tenants. It will abut no structures on the adjacent lot on Block 8. And because the staircase will be gated for exclusive private use of tenants and no living space in the neighboring property will be adjacent to the staircase, staff finds that the potential negative impact of this exception is negligible and has no objection, sees no objection to the approval of this exception request. The second exception is a little bit more out of our depth. It's the maximum length for a fire apparatus access road. Fire code requires that fire apparatus access roads extend within 150 feet of all portions of the building. The exception request is to extend the maximum length to 250 feet on the grounds that the building is equipped throughout with automatic sprinkler system. This exception request has precedent in other communities and appears to be, kind of standard, but we're going to leave that to Mountain View Fire Rescue, that they're still reviewing that particular exception request. If the Planning Commission finds the application meets the applicable criteria, staff has provided Resolution 5 approving the Discovery Office Park Final Development Plan Number 4, Lot 21, Block 1, Discovery Office Park Plan Development Number 2, with the following condition that the applicants shall make minor technical and red line corrections to plans as identified by the town and directed by Town Board and Planning Commission. We can open it up for discussion and questions, or we can take public comment and the next presentation first, however you guys do that.
If anybody has any questions for Jeffrey, you can ask the questions, but we should hold discussion for later.
Okay. I had one with like one of your first slides that showed the property. Yeah. So it looks like there's like a piece that's kind of getting like orphaned on the right side of this property.
Maybe like this?
Yeah, what's going on there? Is that just undevelopable or?
That is a good question. You could see if the plan sheets. I'm not, yeah, it's different property, so.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that belongs to the downtown or to Discovery Office Park. I could look into that, but I don't think that that was considered because it was off the.
I was just wondering if.
Sure.
Like this was somehow making that land unusable or if that land was already unusable.
To chime in just briefly, it looks like there's some pretty steep slopes in the 3D model there, so I think it's
Already
intentionally.
unusable. Okay. I was wondering.
I could see how that's designated and let you know. Well, as soon as I sit down.
David?
Can you go back to that previous slide?
Previous this way? Previous this way?
With the property description.
Property description.
Yeah.
It was the other way.
I think the site plan you were just showing there.
The part of the site plan that I show is the landscape plan.
Yeah.
Did you want to see this?
It looks like the north property boundary is in two different locations on those two different slides.
This slide
That slide and
and this slide,
that slide.
because it looks like it's here.
Look at the north property
So the
boundary.
property boundary is a shorter line, and then the area of development that they'll be impacting with the development is so on this one, on this landscape plan, that's the area of the landscaping that's going to be done. So the property boundary on this plan here is shown just north of that dark line. It's the smaller dotted, so go up, right?
one?
Yep, that's the property line. But the landscaping plan is showing where the landscape plan is covering. So that's why those lines look different. That makes sense?
So the smaller dashed line is the property line,
Yes.
and it's right on the flow line of the curb?
No,
Goes
it's
to
the back.
tree lawn, I believe. Back of sidewalk.
Oh, it should go to the back of the sidewalk.
So is the sidewalk in the public right-of-way, or is it on this property?
Public right away. See if there's a better. Where's the?
The public right-of-way is the sidewalk is public right-of-way. I'm not sure what the detail on this, if that's the property line or if that's the area of development. But we can, is there a question associated
The
with it?
property line
or-
is on
Yeah,
this.
it's confusing.
Yes, I don't disagree.
The property line is the magenta line, the dash magenta line right here. And you can know that because these come within a foot of the property line.
And what is the front setback?
The front setback,
0 to 3?
yeah, it's like kind of 0 to 5 in a way. Because it's laid out like this, that's 70 to 80%, whatever that means, has to be 0 to 3, and that 20 to 30% has to be 3 to 5. But they basically all come within 3, so it satisfies this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Ryan? Molly?
Okay.
Mike, do you have any questions? Can you hear me?
Oh, was that a question for me, David? I am having
Yeah.
trouble hearing.
Sorry, I was just asking if you had any questions for Jeffrey, actually.
No, is there going to be a bit of a presentation by the applicant at all?
Yes.
Okay,
Comes
so
next.
I'll wait for that.
And Anne, do you have any questions for Jeffrey? I'm not hearing anything, but I don't know if you're hearing me.
Okay. Are you hearing me now?
Oh, yes, we're hearing you now.
Okay. I'll save my questions until after the presentation.
Okay. Okay, Jeffrey, thank you very much for your presentation. So I think the applicant has a presentation.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you so much for making time for us here this evening. I also want to thank Jeffrey and Renee and the entire planning team here at the town. They've been nothing but great to work with, a great resource, a great sounding board, and great partners in this whole process. So my job is to quickly tee up Kite Route Crossing, the development we're very proud to be here representing, and then invite my our great design team here to kind of talk through some of the details.
If you could tell us who you are, that would probably be a good place to start.
Sure, I apologize. My name is Brad Weinig. I'm a developer with the Penrose team here in Denver. We'll cover the rest of the team here in a slide in a moment. But I live in Denver and have been up here in front of you all and in front of the town board a couple times for this project, and we're very thrilled to be at the stage that we are now. So again, team, Brad Weinig here, representing Penrose. My colleague Shannon is not able to be here tonight. My colleague Michael Kimmelman is here behind us in the audience. We were the kind of three-headed monster of the Penrose Mountain Development team. Marcia Blunt heads up our property management team and will help me oversee the operations of the property. And then also on this slide, Andy Rockmore and Sean Jersnick from SAR, our great architects. Jim Brostowicz, who I understand needs no introduction in front of this body. And then Ben Blackburn is a principal with Innova. Innova is a company that Penrose uses nationally on all of our projects, all the way from design through construction completion, to make sure that we uphold the kind of the standards and qualities that we expect as an organization, working hand in hand with our architect and engineering team, as well as our contractor in building the project. Penrose, just real quickly, is a national organization, over 50 years old, have hundreds of developments and tens of thousands of units, the preponderance of which are income and or rent restricted across the country. So we have a great depth of national strength and experience and capacity to undertake these developments. But I want to be clear that, you know, the folks that are working directly on this project are all here and live in the you know, somewhere between Denver and Boulder, and care very much about this community in our backyard. And these are some examples of projects that either we have built in Denver or are building in Longmont or hope to build here, as well as another project in Denver that we are working on. And so we rely on the strength of our national presence, but very much this project is driven by the local team. Jeffrey covered some of this, so I won't belabor it, but just to kind of remind everybody, we were back in front of you guys about a year and a half ago in the spring to kind of further refine the plan development for this project, to make sure that we were clear on what we wanted to do and also be clear with the community, you know, what we weren't going to do. We knew coming into the project that there were some brand new, very lovely townhomes above us on Canary Lane, and we were very clear that we did not want to have a negative impact on their views that they enjoy, and we wanted to make sure that we fit in very closely with kind of the walkable, bikeable, very connected downtown Superior network. And so we stood here and kind of committed that, one, we want to make sure that we're helping you meet your affordability goals. This is also our goal, so we committed to affordable housing for seniors as the allowable use. That is still very much the plan. We committed to a maximum building elevation to ensure that we did not impact views of residents behind us, and in fact kind of fit in, you know, no taller than the buildings across the street from us as well. So we want to make sure we fit very much into the community. We talked about the parking ratio, affordable housing, and especially affordable housing with age restrictions, tends to not use very much parking at all. We are providing more parking than what we are required to do here, but wanted to be clear about what our parking ratio was, as well as some of the setbacks that were just discussed. And again, making sure that, you know, we were going no further than 3 stories above, just to reiterate our intent to have a low impact physical development that fits squarely into downtown. In terms of milestones, where we've been since we were in front of you and where we hope to go, really our work has really been trying to line up all of the difficult financing tools that we need to make this work. And we were fortunate, thanks in no small part to the town's partnership, to receive an award of low-income housing tax credits from the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority in May of this year, which means that we have a real project that we can move forward with. And so that really kicked us off on, you know, really elevating the design again, picking up this FDP approval process. And we are here in front of you this evening in hopes that you will recommend this project's FDP to the town board, or town council, I should say, for approval next month, so that we can hope to work towards permits by the end of the year and start construction in the early part of 2026, hopefully completing the project in the summer of 2027. Here's a picture of the plan development that we are a part of and that we amended with your help and approval last April, and it's the one against which that we are asking you to kind of review our FTP submittal. And so with that, I think I will invite our intrepid designer, Andy Rockmore, to come up and talk a bit more about the key design objectives and what we've really worked hard on to make sure that we do fit within the PD amendments and also the broader goals of the town. So Andy, come on up.
Hi, thank you. My name is Andy Rockmore. I'm an architect with Shears Atkins Rockmore Architects in Denver. These are just a few of the key objectives. There are certainly many, but really the first is, I hope, obvious, and what all architects should do to your incredibly successful fabric that you have created here in the town center. We seek to contribute to it, and in other words, fit in rather than stand out. The next two really describe what makes this site unique and also incredibly challenging. We are trying to, as Brad stated, trying to lay low, if you will, because of the views, the considerable views of the townhomes above. The current topographic constraints is a fancy way of saying the hill We are digging into a hill, and that's difficult. But through all of this, we wish to also represent the site's heritage, the site's history, and it plays an interesting part in, what am I?
Sorry, you gotta use the keypad. Just in the drawer below.
Oh, really? Thank you. Great, thank you. Great, so for those of you who don't know, the old railway, which is the road that we're building on, is the exact route that used to be on the Kite Route. The interurban railroad that traveled around these parts from 1908 to 1930. It was actually an electric rail. They were far ahead of their time. And it traveled these routes here and was nicknamed the Kite Route because of the shape that it created. This has been a great inspiration, and we always seek for the places that we make to teach and reflect the history of the site. It's a pretty incredible place in your town. This shot that you've seen now a few times shows sort of the development since we were here in April. We sought to adjust the PD, to amend the PD so that we could create this. We were confident that if we had the constraints that we all discussed, we could achieve a building which fits in, like I said, rather than stands out. And it's been tough. It's been a challenge, I will tell you. But it's what we've really tried to do. Again, it's a long and low building, but I'll describe some of the strategies and the moves that we've made to achieve this. One of them being to accurately reflect with materials, with transparency, and with form, the uses that lie within. This is a shot from Gateway Quarter, or Gateway Street, which we've intentionally placed the entry here because it is one of the few places that you see the building head on. All the other views are really oblique views walking up and down the street. So we intentionally placed the entry here on this end and opened it up as much as possible with significant transparency to show all of the common and public places beyond, including the amenity deck for all residents and people who work here. And we're showing that stair that Jeffrey talked about here, which will allow just greater connection, greater connectivity. We could live without it. The project still works without it, but we think it's far more successful if those who use, especially in such a relatively short building, only 3 stories. This is not likely a building where people use the elevators constantly. So multiple ways to get up and down and out of the building are always catalyze the activity, including the stair. You can see the stair tower here, filling the stairs with abundant light because they become common spaces in 3-story buildings, every bit as much as the corridors and the streetscape. Just a quick view of the plan. You can see that those 40 parking spaces with EV on the ground floor, and then to the left by Gateway Drive, a whole host of rooms, fitness, meeting rooms, club rooms, kitchens, the leasing center, person at the desk as you move in, packages and bikes, all reside in this first story. This section through our site shows well what we've managed to achieve, a 3-story building in 35 feet 9 inches with the parking and amenity on the first floor, 2 floors of residential above, all below that first floor of the townhomes above. So what happens when you do that is this. You see over the top of this building, and we have also worked very carefully with a whole host of engineers to carefully locate all of the mechanical equipment that is necessary on the roof. It is, in large part, yet another facade on this building. People look down upon it. So we need to be careful about it, and we have been. This image shows, it's sort of up above, but it shows a lot of the strategies that we've used. Instead of it is indeed a long horizontal building, but we have broken it up and fragmented it vertically into these 25-foot width sections. The guidelines, your guidelines, do a great job of articulating these historic widths, and we've paid close attention to that. We've also used, can I point? Oh, I can't point. A lot of proportions that work together, and I want to describe this as briefly as I can, but this proportion here of that sort of historic townhome proportion, 25 feet wide, you see that proportion also, same proportion here in these larger bay windows. With Juliet's, when we spoke to you last, there were no private outdoor spaces. These animate the facade, create a living facade, and then the same proportions found even in the smaller windows. So you get this macro scale, and then medium scale and micro scale all working in similar proportions, and that is how a building can feel composed. In some ways, we are not trying to. We're trying to be a good neighbor here, and in doing so, be more quiet than loud, if you will. We are, again, seeking to fit in and be a good contributor rather than flashy colors, wild gestures. It's a more quiet, understated approach. You can see some of the variety on the ground floor, and creating these 25-foot widths, we've also arranged the units to enable the variety. So you have some, the Juliet's and some bedroom windows here, and then we have these significant breaks where we place benches so that the public can occupy, anyone can occupy and feel a part of this. And then an opposite connection as we rotate units to provide back-to-back bedrooms. So you get this sort of up and down playfulness. Along the building, we use masonry and very durable materials. It's not really required, but we think it's important to have daylight in the garage. One would think all garages have daylight, but they tend not to, and sort of in these large buildings. But we're using this both to animate the facade, and I think last time, if you recall, we talked a lot about the parking and the need for fresh air ventilation. This is pulling air in. These are bricks which are left out, and it creates this nice light pattern and does it in a way that doesn't create noise. When you have a louver and a fan inside that louver that is moving air, this much more passively just moves air and creates that fresh air experience inside the garage. And then down the street, you can see the main entry. This is another shot. We're using the masonry, which creates the substantial base along these townhome elements, and then kind of fades away into these columns here at the end. And these are all of the more common activities, public rooms, the fitness and meeting rooms that I spoke of earlier. The stair that we've been talking about here with a gate at the end so it's secure, and then the common amenity deck. And as a play with the kite route theme, we also are creating shade on this western exposure with these sails, which are in the form of kites. This is not an interior design presentation, but we're pulling some of that attitude, that playfulness into the interior design as well. And then finally, this is, as we said, that main view down Gateway Drive. You can just see the door here, the main entry, and a small canopy above it. And we are eager to answer any questions you might have. Thank you so much.
David, can I add something? We have Chase on here. He's our, he can do like the presentation for a flyover, so you can see this development in the greater downtown area. So if we want to have him also do some, share his images and some flyover, and then direct him, and then maybe take questions, because I want to allow him to,
Great.
present and then
Sure.
move on.
Great idea.
Okay.
Thank you, Chase.
Hold on, I gotta change the view, and the remote is not right here, so don't start yet.
Good evening, everyone. Kind of while we wait here just a moment, I'll just do kind of a kind of general overview, kind of go through some of the views that I saw that kind of were asked to kind of be addressed and make sure that we have good alignment on. And then I'll open it up to Planning Commission to kind of direct me to go wherever you'd like. So just let me know when we're ready, Renee.
We are ready. Thank you.
All right. So here we are, Superior. Gonna fly in here. So now we're looking down old railway, and we're just about to land. Right here is the Kite Wrap Crossing, just a slightly different tan there on the ground here. We're going to turn the corner and I'll come back at it here up this gateway, I believe. Sorry, a little jerky, a little rusty. Haven't been in front of the board here in a little while. I'll move our sun here just a little bit. Let's make it that way. I'm gonna look up here from this is Canary, I believe. Is that right? So maybe just drop down here to some of these kind of upper story windows. Go down here to a deck or two. I'm kind of just going to slide against the kind of the back side of these. Oops, stuck. And then maybe we'll go over here. Turn the corner. The deck maybe. Upper story just across the street. Another rooftop deck. Another rooftop deck. Upper story window. Just back the other way, maybe. Those are kind of some of the key ones that I had seen before. Is there any other specific places you'd like me to dive into or spend a little more time at?
Chase, if you're at ground level, behind the townhomes on Canary Way, what do you see from there?
Yeah, good one. So let's go down here to right here. I can toggle the trees just for a second. I realize that's it's not exactly an apples to apples, but oops, got to slow down here, turbo. So I'll walk. I'll kind of just start walking horizontally here and stay then at kind of the ground level.
I'm trying to remember. I think there are some patios on Canary Way that are basically coming out at this level, aren't there?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so we're oops, bumped into another support.
What's the building that we're looking at over to the left there? Is that the new
Yes,
development that's under construction?
correct. Then we kind of start to round the corner here and start to kind of lose sight of it as we kind of continue along those porches there off of Canary Way.
Chase, can you put us on the deck of this kite crossing building looking west?
The deck over here at this end, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see if I can squish myself in there. There we go. Toggle the trees for a second. Get some good flat irons. The height plane is pretty irrelevant here in this location. We're a couple 100 feet below it.
Does anybody have any other particular views that they'd like to ask Chase for? David, Amanda, Ryan, Lonnie,
Good, thanks. Thanks, Chase.
Mike, do you or Anne have anything that you'd like to look at in particular?
For me, David.
Sorry, say again.
Oh, this is Mike, David. I don't have any questions for Chase.
All right. Well, as always, you're very welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Andy, does anybody have any questions for Andy about his presentation?
Andy, 50 units,
Correct.
1 and 2 bedroom,
Yes, very few 2 bedrooms, but yes.
and size of the 1 bedrooms approximately in square feet?
Oh, I'm going to turn to Sean so I don't get it mixed up. Sean is an architect here working on the project as well.
About 650 square feet for the one beds.
650 square feet for the 1 bedrooms.
And how many 2 bedrooms approximately?
Six?
Six.
6 twos, yep. Do you want the size of the?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Those are thousands.
1,000 square feet.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
I was really impressed by your history of this kite route. Is there any plans to put in some sort of sign or something explaining some of that?
You got it, yes. There's a large, well, I can't show you, but there's a large wall just as you walk in, the front doors, and we're going to fill that wall top to bottom with the map, the historic map of Kite Route, and tell that story. So it really is part of the experience. And then there are other pieces. We've pulled some of the, I'm going to keep going if that's okay. We pulled some of the light fixtures at the entry doors to each unit are sort of a takeoff on some of the old railway cars that we've seen pictures of. We've done a lot of research into the actual car and the railway. And then some of the materiality, just evoking that railway spirit in the patterning of the carpets. So we're really developing it and having a good time with that. But the history that you spoke of is front and center as you walk in, the full height.
David,
Can you confirm for us that there will be no hazardous conditions created by stormwater or snowmelt, considering that the street frontage is the north side of the building, that it will be shaded during the winter months?
Yes, Jim. I knew Jim would be coming. I felt him.
Jim Brostovich, Civil Resources. So yeah, we're very sensitive to that. All of this, the roof rainwater will be piped into a storm drain. So there's not going to be any downspouts on the north side of this building. Water that falls from the sky is going to be there, and it's going to need to be maintained. But as per town code, the property owner is responsible for maintaining the sidewalk in front of their building, which would include this property. So, and then all the stormwater itself is accommodated in the master downtown Superior stormwater ponds. So there's no on-site detention required. It's already accounted for in all the ponds that exist.
Okay, and you feel like you've adequately addressed surface runoff? And I'm thinking specifically about the two areas on the sides of the building where snow melt, stormwater could run off down to the sidewalk?
This is probably good enough here. So on the very west part by where the stairs that we've been discussing are, it's not shown on this print, but there will be a sidewalk chase right here. So there's a little, called a flume here that takes any water that gets here. It'll go underneath the sidewalk into the curb and gutter here. This is the storm drain where all the roof runoff is going to tie into this. There's another inlet here, and all the water will get into there. We're also putting in a couple of drains back here, and not shown on this plan. We're cutting a swale up here, putting in a drain to intercept this water that's coming off the slope and getting it into a pipe underground before it flows into here. So we've got multiple drains. Yes, I'm confident of the drainage.
Okay, thank you. One other question, well, I guess I have two more questions. So how is trash pickup handled?
We, in all of Penrose's buildings, there is a trash chute and a trash room right here. So trash comes through and picks it up through this rollover curb. Pulls out the dumpsters, picks them up, and puts the dumpsters back.
Okay. And finally, on the roof, there's air conditioning compressor units visible.
Correct.
Do those need to be screened in any way? Those are going to be visible from the Canary Road or the Canary Lane townhomes?
It's a good question. They're, as far as I know, they're not required to be screened because they're far enough set back from the front facade. However, you're right, they are visible for those who live above the project.
So I guess to partially, he's right, there's no requirement to screen them because of where they're located on the top of the building. And if you added screens then you'd be seeing screens and those would be higher than the roof line. So it's, a catch-22 as to whether you want to see screens all the way along that block these from view, but then create height on, across that whole top of the building. Or you want to see these, we didn't ask for screening because of where they're located, because it's not required based on.
Sure. I can imagine it could be objectionable to those neighbors, but if there's no requirement, then I don't think we can ask you to do it.
Am I right in assuming that, Renee, that if there was a screen to block the view from above of the air conditioning unit, the screen would have to be so high that the sight line of it might block the unit, but we would then see a 10-foot screen or some mega screen.
Well, there would be more height on the building across the entirety of that building
Yeah.
if you went and built, especially if you're talking about like trying to enclose them in some way so that they're, I mean, I don't even know if you built a screen on that south side that those still wouldn't be visible
Yeah.
from Canary all
Because
the
they-
way.
'cause
They're up really high.
They're up,
Yeah.
on a height difference, they're probably up another 25 or to feet just to the first level, not even the second level or the,
Yeah, this is
I mean,
from
you'd
the
ha-
first floor. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting debate, but you're blocking one thing by creating another,
Another block.
Yeah, by another block, so,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, thank you very much.
Amanda?
Asked mine.
Sorry?
I already asked mine.
Oh, okay.
I'm good.
Ryan?
My only question was about the screening on the roof, and I think we just discussed it enough.
Mike?
Yes, thanks, David. Let me see if I can get my, I'll do video here so you can see a face with the voice. So yeah, I think it looks like a great project, and I think in terms of appearance, given the site constraints, I think it just looks great. So yeah, kudos to you guys on that, and just love all the little touches you put in there. So my only comment is really on the irrigation system and the landscaping on the hillside. On the irrigation system, I noticed on the drawings, there's a booster pump on the east side of the building, and I assume that's added to increase the pressure to get the water up to the top of the hill. Two concerns with that. First of all, booster pumps can be pretty noisy, and it's over on the east side, so I certainly wouldn't want to create any noise nuisance for the residents that are already there over that direction. So best thing would be to figure out a way to get rid of the booster pump. If that really isn't possible, then the enclosure for the booster pump should at least have some soundproofing or insulation to make sure the dBs don't get too high. And also that is a temporary system. And I think as was noted there, it's only going to be used to establish the native grass on the hillside, which makes perfect sense. At our HOA, we had the same challenge to establish native grass. And it is quite a challenge. You need the water to establish it, but as you add water, it does promote weed growth. So I'd be prepared for a pretty aggressive weed mitigation strategy for the past couple of years, and not past couple of years, future couple of years. But anyway, that's my only thoughts. Other than that, think great project.
Thank you so much for those comments, and we'll take that into consideration, certainly. Thank you.
Anne?
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll just add,
Oh, sorry.
the town system doesn't have enough pressure. Almost all of the irrigation system in downtown Superior have booster pumps. So it's pretty consistent down there. I haven't heard, I'm also involved in the Superior Town Center Metro District, and I haven't heard any complaints from neighbors about the noise of the booster pumps. It seems like whatever has been put in seems to be insulated, but I don't know the specifics of them, but we will definitely mention that to the irrigation designer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anne?
I have a few questions. While we're on the subject of HVAC, we're talking about air conditioners, but are those actually heat pumps? And do you have one heat pump per unit, or is it
Yes.
dispersed? Okay.
Excuse me.
And
Yes.
will residents pay for their own utilities, or will that be included in rent?
That would be a question for the owner, Penrose.
The residents will be paying their own heating and cooling, electricity bills. We at the property will pay water, sewer, trash.
Okay, okay, fair enough. And then we received an email from a town resident with concerns about the parking and the 0.5 ratio of parking spots per apartment, suggesting that that was not appropriate for independent living people in the 55 plus, that it's more applicable for an elder, a living situation that attracts significantly older residents or, people needing more care. Can you just speak to that?
Sure, yeah. So as part of the PD amendment process, that was a big part of the conversation, and we did a lot of research both internally as well as through market studies elsewhere. In our own portfolio, we have a number of these age-restricted properties, all of which are typically 55 years and older, and by and large, they tend to use between 0.3 and 0.5 spaces per unit. We committed to 0.6 to include also a 0.1 for guests, and we are actually providing, I think, 33% more than that. I think we're up somewhere in the kind of 0.7, what's our total number, 40 units, 40 spaces? So 0.8, per unit is actually what we are committing to providing via this FDP. So we're aware that the parking is a concern of residents, but we're confident in what we are providing will be sufficient based on, dozens of these properties throughout the country in operating them, as well as in the community.
It's really good to know that you have experience with that. Can somebody speak to what is there street parking available for overnight for residents, or is it all limited term?
There is on-street parking in front of this, but I am not intimately familiar with the town of Superior's parking policy in this neighborhood. Maybe Jeffrey can.
So the parking situation in this neighborhood is in transition. We started with no parking restrictions. We went to 3-hour limit, and that wasn't for overnight parking. That was until 10 p.m. I think, 8 to 10 or something like that. We backed off of that because certain factors in the downtown have changed, are yet to take off as they seemed like they were going to. So likely parking restrictions will come back eventually because there wasn't a lot of parking designed in the downtown. It's supposed to be very walkable, and for that reason, there isn't a lot of parking. So it could be that parking becomes restricted on this block to 3 hours during the day with overnight parking allowed. That's my guess, is that it'll end up back there.
Okay.
For on-street parking.
Okay, but that's a guess. It may well be that residents kind of self-select if they have a couple of cars, if it's, 2 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment, they might self-select and say, oh no, this is not the property for me because I can't be assured of 2 parking spaces.
Yeah.
So
there's also a lot of transportation options that we're building in to this area that don't include personal car ownership, including possibly, as I was saying, adding a car share right out front. There's currently a car share a couple blocks away, so there might be an additional one that people can use. Bike share, there's all that bike parking. Also for income restricted households, I think that owning 2 cars is a tough proposition. It's very expensive.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's helpful. I have one more question, which is actually, I think, more substantive. Is there any way to give either town residents or county residents preferential admission, or is that not within the realm of possibilities?
It's a great question, the one that we have discussed a lot. So the short answer is we will do everything that we can with proactive marketing and prioritization outreach, working in partnership with the town of Superior, with the Community Foundation of Boulder County. We work with a lot on this deal. We want to make sure, first and foremost, that the residents who are impacted or displaced by the fire have every chance to move back in, as well as local residents. What we can't do is turn away somebody who applies, who is otherwise qualified income and age-wise, because they don't live here. So we can't kick somebody out or not let them move in here for fair housing reasons, but we certainly can and will very proactively ensure that the residents in town, especially those who are impacted by the fires, are the first to hear about it. They're the first to be able to get their names onto the interest and wait list and have every chance to move in here. So it's a bit of a fine, fair housing line that we need to walk, but we're committed to doing it because we know it's important.
And this is Renee. I'm just going to add that our disaster recovery manager is working with Penrose very closely on ensuring that, folks who are still displaced from the Marshall Fire, like he said, do know that this is coming and have the opportunity to apply as quickly as possible.
Okay. That's really great to know. And I think there's a lot of really, really admirable work that has gone into this project. I feel like you've got a piece of property that is not the easiest to build on and not the most generous, and you're really doing your best to make the most of it and really taking neighbors' views into concern and other, the sustainability, the fire resistance, all of it. I feel like you're really working hard to make this project work, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that. It is, everything you said is true. It is hard, but it's also important to us. And so thank you for recognizing it. We intend to follow through.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
Hey, David, can I add a follow-up comment on Ann's comment about trying to figure out a way to give Superior residents or those displaced in Superior by the fire, up in Breckenridge for the workforce housing, they call it up there, it's in big demand, and they usually have a lottery system. And the way they try to, or what they have used to give priority to certain groups of people is to give them multiple lottery tickets. So that kind of increases their chances. So like your typical person might just get one. A resident of Breckenridge of a certain category might get 2 or 3 or something like that. So food for thought as to what we could perhaps do here if this does become a lottery.
Yeah, great suggestion. We're familiar with that project and know the developer owner well, and will certainly pick their brains to make sure we're thinking of everything that we can do within legal limits to serve the population that we in this town want to serve.
Great, thanks a lot.
I have a curiosity question. Are those Juliet balconies real balconies? I mean, do the doors behind them open so that people can come out on them?
Yeah, well, yes, they are Juliets. So the doors behind them open, but you cannot step outside onto a projected balcony. The living room becomes a balcony, if you will. So the areas shown in wood are the Juliets, and then the doors open. So you get a much more grand opening there. Right. Able to stick your head out and look out to the west to the mountains.
Thank you.
Sure.
No, I think that's great. I mean, I think that adds, they weren't there the last time you came to see us, and I think that's a great addition, actually. I think it'll make the apartments, particularly the smaller ones, seem much larger, or I hope it will anyway.
Yes, we're right up against the property line, so we couldn't project, but this is a way of animating the facade, allowing the life to come out onto the street.
Great. No, I agree with my colleagues. I think it's a great project, and I'm glad it's moving forward. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak about the project?
I have a couple of questions.
If you'd like to write your name on sign in, or maybe you have signed in.
You can sign in and there you go.
My name is Russ Morissette, and I live on Canary Lane.
Oh.
So I'm impacted by this. So my first question is about the landscaping. Once it's in, what is the procedure if trees or plants die? Because in the neighborhood, we've seen dead trees and they've been there for years and they never get replaced, and kind of an eyesore and a fire hazard. The other question is the care of the natural grasses. We've had issues in the past with the grass not being cut, being waist high, and having all kinds of critters and grasshoppers and you name it infest that area. And then they cut it, leave the grass, and it becomes a fire hazard. So that's question 1 of 3. So that's that wouldn't be that would be PMC, I guess, will be the people that would maintain that area. But that's one of my questions. The other question is the retaining wall. It looks to be 10 feet plus. And I'm assuming that there's going to be some type of fence that will prevent somebody coming down the hill from not seeing that and falling off the edge. The next question, with all the construction we get with the winds, a lot of debris, construction materials, dust. Everybody at Canary Lane gets their windows cleaned at least twice a year because the amount of dust and debris that comes through. Is there any remediation that we can ask for to help us during the construction process to help us? And the last series of questions deal with how do we vet the people that come in and apply for these apartments, and what options do they have? A lot of people here in town like to take a month off and travel and camp and that type of thing. Do they have the option of turning that apartment into an Airbnb for the month that they're away? And part of the vetting process, obviously, is age and financial income. Do they get revetted over a period of time? So every year, do they get revetted? So this year, I didn't make much money. I qualified. Next year, well, all of a sudden, my investments came in pretty good and I'm earning a lot more. Do I lose the apartment, or is there a process to check to even see, and would I lose my apartment? And I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'd like to respond on behalf?
I'll do my best and may ask for some support on the retaining wall question. But to take your last question first, sir. Applicants do have to get income qualified when they apply. There's a vetting and a paperwork process, a background check, traditional stuff that any landlord would want to do. There is an annual recertification process, and there is some room to grow, right? We don't want to have there be these false choice barriers between earning more money and having to move out, right? So there is some room for them to grow, but there are caps, right? And so if it grows too much, they do have to move out. We can't let them move in, and then the next available person on our wait list will move in, income qualified wise. These are 12-month leases. They are all rental units. They cannot sublease their units. They can't go away and turn them into short-term rentals. There's very much restrictions on that. So these will be, year-round, full-time residents. If they can afford to go on a vacation for a month, that's wonderful, but they can't lease it to somebody else in the absence. Does that satisfy, I think, the last question. In terms of the maintenance, this is the property that we will own, and so we will be responsible for maintaining it. We've already made some initial outreach into the organizations that do some of the maintenance in the area. It sounds like maybe it's not up to standard, and so maybe we should look elsewhere, but we will ensure that we are good neighbors and maintain, our property up to standards. And certainly, the last thing we want to do is create a fire hazard, right? We're very, very conscious of the recent history of this town and this community, and don't want to exacerbate it. We've taken a lot of very careful steps to ensure that resiliency and stabilization and flood mitigation and fire mitigation is baked into our design here. The fence around the retaining wall, is that?
It's shown right there on that.
Is that? Use the mouse maybe for folks.
It's hard to see.
Yeah, but it's.
It'll go all the way to the end.
Right.
Okay, good. Should look like the retaining wall that's to the west of the property line. Okay.
Michael, do you want to repeat that?
My name is Michael Kimmelman, an associate developer with Penrose. Just to answer that with the fence and the retaining wall, there is a retaining wall to the west of the property already that exists. The fence that we will have will, in its design and functionality, be very similar to that. So from a safety perspective, and if you're concerned about a height perspective, I think that's a good barometer moving forward as well. But you're right, it's a fall hazard. We need to be conscious of that.
Was that all of them, or was there another one in there that we?
The dust.
Oh, the dust. Certainly construction projects are a mess. We do have lots of standards that we have to live by, including during the construction process with our GC, and we can certainly commit to working with them to ensure that at a bare minimum, they are communicating to everybody around what's happening over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and employing every tool that they have to ensure that dust mitigation, trash, we expect them to clean up every day after they're done, like any good construction crew should. The crew that we are likely to work with is a company called ICOTA. I believe they've developed some other nearby projects in this area, and are proud of the work that they do. And we're here for a long time. We can't sell it in 2 years and get out, right? So we're your neighbors for a long time. So we want to be good neighbors with how we maintain the property and how we build it during the process.
I had a few comments. One is if you see dead trees and stuff, you can use the town's click and fix. And if it's not the town's tree, they'll tell whoever owns the tree to fix it.
I believe Chase Mullen owns the pink trees.
Yeah.
So
and they send you like updates and everything. We might be very active on Click and Fix, my family. So we know that if you see something, a lot of times just the town doesn't know or the property owner doesn't know, and that's a very quick. It's just an app you can get on your phone to report it, and then a lot of times to control dust on construction sites, they'll get like water trucks, just wet it down a little bit, but it's not an exact science.
Does anybody have any more questions for either staff or the applicant?
There's one person online too. If you raise your hand and you want to make a comment, then we can allow you to make a comment. Otherwise, you can continue to listen.
Mr. Bremers, would you like to make a comment? Or do you have any questions? It seems like not. Okay. Well, I think since it's a rather small gathering, we can have a discussion as such, but I'm not going to close the public hearing just in case we want to go back to. Is that okay? Okay, thanks. So, does anybody have any comments or questions that they'd like?
The proposed project complies with town regulations. The exception is the project complies with project requirements. The exception that's being requested is minimal. It fits its context. I think applicants have responded to our earlier concerns. I'm satisfied with my current concerns, so I would suggest approving.
Amanda?
Yeah, I really like this project. I really like how it undulates, and I can't remember all the fancy terms, but I like it. And I like how it also does that on the backside, so that the people up on Canary Lane, they're not looking at the back of a warehouse. They're looking at also something with architectural highlights. I really like that. I love how you incorporated the history into this, and thought about a lot of the things. And yeah, the staircase, it seems fine to me. I would wait for the fire department with the fire thing, because I don't know if you've been following town Facebook, but we've had like a couple fires in town lately. So I think everyone's a little on edge again with the fires. But otherwise, yeah, it's a great project. I would approve.
Molly?
I want to thank you for listening to our concerns and comments in the past, and I want to applaud you for contributing to the community by bringing this forward and working so hard to get it funded and into the stage we're in. So on behalf, I just want to say thank you.
Ryan?
Sure, yeah. I'll start with, once again, thank you for listening. It's been a year and a half since we saw you last, and obviously we know that you listened and put a lot of that into what we're seeing tonight. I think, yes, the building does fit its context. You know, would I love to see screening on the top of it? Yes, but we already talked about that. We know why we wouldn't. Will it be something that's complained about? Probably. Could something go where the benches are? Yes, but like that's nitpicking. What you've done is you've given us a good project and a good building that I believe we can approve, and more importantly, they're very important units to our community. So I appreciate you putting the time and effort into it.
Anne? Anne?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
I am thrilled that there will once again be some affordable housing in town. I know we had some naturally affording prior to the fire, and that was just a tremendous, tremendous loss to our community when we lost so many homes in original town. I am a huge advocate for affordable housing in Superior, and I don't see any reasons not to approve the project. So.
Okay. Mike?
As I said before, I think it's a great project, and I really don't have anything else to add other than that I'll vote to approve it.
Okay. I think all I can say is I share my colleagues' views on it. The last affordable housing in original town was mostly some fairly old trailers, so I think this could be regarded as a great upgrade on those, and I think it'll be great to have it back again. Okay, are we ready to vote on this? I think so. In that case, I think I have to close the public hearing first. Okay. Public hearing is closed, and thank you for all the people who've been here and presented this evening. That's been great.
Thank you. Great presentation. May I make a motion?
Certainly.
I would move Town of Superior Planning.
Oh, you've got to turn it on.
I will move Town of Superior Planning Commission Resolution Number PC-5, Series 2025. A resolution of the Planning Commission of the Town of Superior recommending approval of the final development plan number 4 for Discovery Office Park, case number FDP-2025-01.
And would somebody like to second it?
I will second.
Okay, in that case, I think we could move to a roll call.
Chairman Harper,
Yes.
Vice Chair Rose,
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes, Commissioner Barnes,
Oh, sorry.
we're voting, did you say yes?
I did say yes. I'm having, let's see.
I-
Can you
I
hear me
hear
now?
you. Yep.
Okay, yes. Sorry.
No worries.
Operator error.
Commissioner Mojo,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanahan.
Yes.
All right, it passes. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thank you to your staff.
Thank you.
You're updating us?
You're updating us?
Oh, good.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you.
All right. We're on to number 5, updates.
Okay.
So, it's short. We talked about the comprehensive plan update last time. We had Nora here presenting, and we talked about public engagement. We brought that to the town council. They advised us to move forward with the current scope and fee structure budget for the project. We are looking at some, how to use the scope of the open house and the events that are upcoming to make it different and try and capture as much engagement in this next phase as possible. So we're taking your comments and trying to come up with, what can we do within the same kind of scope and budget that we have already approved. With that, we are going to have a table at the Chili Fest. I think I'm going to ask you all to volunteer at the table so we could just have, one staff and, 1 or 2 commissioners at the table for the Chili Fest. And then we can not have Cushing Terrell or any them have to attend that event. There won't necessarily be any draft plan engagement at that point, but we've been brainstorming with them some ideas on what we can ask folks and how we can engage them during that event, and then provide some takeaway, like postcard things with links to the Shape Superior website and next steps and things like that. But I'll probably send out an email to y'all sometime in the next week or so to volunteer for that event. Then after that, they are working on the draft plan and the template for the draft plan. We're going to bring that to you after staff reviews it before we go out for the next round of public engagement. Then we'll do the public engagement, including the open house. We'll have a follow-up after the open house online again, like we did the last time. And then we'll have the final plan come before you for a recommendation. So that's kind of the general plan right now. We'll talk about the public engagement as we brainstorm ideas on how to take your ideas and figure out how to make some of that work for what we have.
Do you have an idea for the date on the final plan?
We're looking at final plan probably December or January.
Okay.
Draft is when?
The draft, so the public engagement portion of the draft is going to probably be like late October, November timeframe. So like probably an open house in late October. I think the draft plan it's a draft plan, but it'll come in pieces and we'll, and so I'm not exactly sure what, draft plan here looks like. It's not, the final plan in document form that you're reading and commenting on. It's like, the verbiage or how the plan is put together or different things about putting the plan together in the draft format. But I don't know exactly what that looks like, and I don't know how public comment will engage the public in that process. So I don't really have answers for you on that right now. But there's more to come. I will continue to update you.
While you don't have answers, could you think a little bit about how to try and make it an interactive activity for people who go to it on the web? I'm always mindful of Mark Lacis's comment about piles of paper that sit on shelves and nobody reads. So it would be really nice to have something that, for the people who go look at it, features a newer kind of technology that I'm personally comfortable using.
Yes, we will consider that as part of like what the plan looks like and how we share it online also, yeah. The next meeting is scheduled for September 16th. We have a rezone application it's 2 properties. I just put 101 Coal Creek Drive, but it's also 102 Maple.
Where is that?
It's across from Town Hall, just north of here.
It's just the other side of the street, isn't it?
Yes, just the other side of the street. It's like catty corner from here. Yeah. And then
what do they want to rezone it to? Oh, it's commercial at the moment.
One of them is zoned RL, and the other one is zoned BC, which is business commercial. Yeah. And their proposal is to rezone it to mixed use. So we'll hear their application on the 16th.
I mean, just out of curiosity, what kind of mixed use do they have in mind for it?
You can hear at the September 16th meeting.
Well, I always like to prejudge these issues if possible.
You will get your packet materials and then.
Okay, sounds like enough is said.
Well, I mean, it'll be in the information that you receive. I just don't want to
Okay, fair enough.
It fits within the MU zoning that is being proposed. All of the proposed uses that have been considered by the applicant are within the allowed uses of the MU zone district.
Has that property sold recently? I mean, it was for sale for a long time.
I think did he buy it after the fire? He purchased them after the fire, but he's owned them for a couple years now.
Okay.
And then on October 21st, we are going to have the Economic Development Manager, Ellen, provide an update on all things economic development. You can meet her and get to know her and ask her all of the questions about downtown and other developments that you always ask me about, and I always say I don't know. So hopefully she'll be able to answer some of those questions.
But no meeting on the 14th
of
October.
It would be the 7th, I think, actually.
It should be, yeah. So not on it would be the 1st and 3rd we meet. So
Be the 7th.
No.
Or it might be the 6th, but I'm not very good.
The first.
First and third Tuesdays.
Yeah, unless we have. I've been trying to do the 3rd Tuesday.
The first Tuesday
is the 7th.
October would have been the 7th.
Yeah, so this is the
Tuesday
Thursday.
would have been the 14th.
Yeah, but
But we're not going to meet the 14th, we're going to meet the 21st.
We do the first, our official dates are the first
Right.
and third Thursdays.
Yes, but we're
Yeah.
not doing.
We're not doing the
not
first,
seven.
correct, unless something new comes up that I'm trying to do the third Tuesday unless we have additional things that we need to hear. So that's why we have the 16th, which is the third Tuesday of September, and then the 21st of October, which is the third Tuesday in October.
Got it.
September must start on a Tuesday.
It starts on Monday.
Yeah, it's Labor
Okay.
Day, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
Great.
and that's all I've got.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Renee? Anne, you look like you have one.
This is Anne. I have a comment for Renee. You presented some interesting and some curious information from Dr. Cog in terms of a housing needs assessment. I was wondering if there is anything in that that might make its way into the comprehensive plan. The one tidbit of information that I thought might be useful is their projections on how many, like ballpark numbers, how many households are we looking at, 10 years out? I mean, there were a couple of different timeframes. And I just wondered if maybe that would fit, or if you already have something similar or better. But I would encourage everybody to pull up the packet from the last town council meeting and look at the Dr. Cog needs assessment that Renee presented. Some of it seemed pretty accurate. Some of it seemed like completely out of nowhere. So, just a thought to be very selective about what you use.
I appreciate that. No, so yeah, at the town council meeting last
Monday.
week? Yeah, last Monday, we presented the regional housing needs assessment that was put together by Dr. Cog. It fulfills one of the requirements of House Bill 24-174, I think that's the number, which would require the town to adopt its own housing needs assessment by the end of next year. And since we just went through the housing strategies process with the IHOP grant last year, before we had the information on this bill, our housing needs assessment is deficient in several ways. That was done with our housing strategies that we did last year. So rather than go back and redo a housing needs assessment, we commented on the regional housing needs assessment, which is the requirement for Dr. Cog and the state for us to meet that requirement. So we don't have to approve what they're saying, what they have for Superior specific in that plan. We just had to review it with council, and they had to provide comment, which they've done. Part of the plan has an appendix for each municipality specifically, and what Anne's talking about are the numbers that were specific to the town of Superior, some of which, make some sense, and some of which, as the counselor pointed out, seemed pretty far off of, what is feasible for a town our size. It may be, something that makes sense from a regional scale, but when you're looking at our developable properties and what's left in town, like some of it became, from a perspective of the council, impossible, which is what Anne was talking about. So as it relates to putting it into the comprehensive plan, we'll definitely talk about, we have a whole housing chapter. I don't know that we're going to put numbers into the comprehensive plan. Most of the time, comprehensive plans don't have specific numbers because those get dated over time, but bigger picture items and then maybe strategies about reaching, big picture goals. Sometimes they'll have numbers. my guess is that we'd want to look to our housing strategies report that we adopted last year. And perhaps we can look at some of those numbers that Dr. Cog found. I might have Cushing Terrell, that's a good point. Look at those and see if there's anything in there that they think we might be able to use. So I appreciate that comment, and I will follow up at a later date after I talk to Cushing Terrell and see if it makes sense for us to look at those. Well, I mean, I think it makes sense for them to look at them. I don't know if they want to include those in the plan itself.
That's totally fair.
Okay, great.
Okay. Mike, do you have anything to say? Still there?
Let's see, Daria, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, good. I finally learned how to do this. No further comments at this time. Thanks.
Shall we adjourn?
Do it.
We're adjourned. Okay, thank you, everyone.